Okay, hello there, Algebra 1. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Your next lesson is solving systems of equations using the addition method. And, these types of problems you can use either, we could do the substitution method here, but we're going to show you another way to solve these. Again, your answer is still going to consist of an x value and a y value, okay? So we'll start off with this one. This one's pretty easy and straightforward. So the addition method means we're going to actually add these two together. So we're like in columns here, okay? And what we want to do is actually this problem, if you'll notice right here, your positive y in the top and your negative y on the bottom. This is actually what we're going to get to in some later problems. This is what we want. We want one of the variables, in this case, it's our y variable in each equation. We have a positive of that, and we have a negative of that. So we have a positive 1y and a negative 1y. And that, remember, we cannot solve an equation if there's two variables. So we actually want one of these to cancel out. So let me show you how this works. If we add these together, all right, if we're adding, then 2x plus 3x gives us 5x, all right? Positive y plus negative y is the same thing as saying y minus y. Well, those cancel, which is what we want. And then we have equals, okay, 8 plus 2 equals 10. Okay, now, see what we can do now? Now we can divide both sides by 5. And we have x equals 2. All right, now, what do you think we're going to do with this 2 now? Okay, so we know that in our answer, x is 2. So how are we going to find out what y is? Well, we're going to take this 2, and we can choose either equation here. I'm going to choose just randomly here. Let's go up with this top equation. We're going to take that 2, and we're going to plug it in for that x right there. So it's going to be, I'm going to rewrite this top equation. So we've got 2 times 2. So instead of 2x, we've got 2 times 2. So we're plugging a 2 in for that x. Okay. Now, plus y equals 8. Okay, what's an ugly 8? Now it's uglier. Wow, look at that. Oh my. All right, well, let's just go with it. All right, so this gives us 4 plus y. It's kind of hard to write on this sometimes. 4 plus y equals 8. Okay, all right, and of course we're going to subtract 4 here. Subtract 4 here. These cancel. And y equals 4. Okay, so y equals 4. All right, now let's go ahead and check our work and make sure this is correct. So we're going to take our 2 and plug it in for x. We're going to take our 4 and plug it in for y, and we should get 8. Okay, so we've got 2 times 2 plus, and then we're going to plus 4. Okay, let's see. Yep, 4 plus 4 equals 8. Okay, and now we can actually try that with the second equation as well. Same values, so we'll go 3, and we'll plug in a 2 for that x. All right, see what we're doing? So we just put that 2 in for x, and then minus 4 equals 2. 6 minus 4 equals 2. Okay, and that is correct. All right, so that means that this right here is our answer. Now, in your initial work, they're going to ask you, I was looking through your problems, and they're going to ask you the x-coordinate for this, for this solution is, okay, so if they asked us what the x-coordinate of the solution is, then obviously it would be 2. If they ask us what the y-coordinate is, it's going to be 4, okay? All right, so let's go to another example here. All right. Okay, so now with this one, if we add these together, nothing is going to cancel out. Okay, we want something to cancel out. All right, and so here's the thing about this, is that there's actually more than one way you can do this problem. Okay, I could multiply the bottom equation, all right? I could multiply everything by -3. And if I did that, that would give me -3x minus 3y equals -30. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, because if I multiply everything by -3, okay, that means that this first term right here would be -3x, and when I add these together, these would cancel, and that's the whole point of doing this. We want to cancel out one of these variables so that we're left with only one variable. Remember, if you have two variables, then you cannot solve it. Okay, so that's one way we could do it. We could also multiply everything in the bottom equation by +2. Okay, so what would be the point in multiplying everything by +2? Well, if I multiply this -y by +2, that gives me -2y, right? -y times 2, -y times +2 gives me -2y. And that would work out well because then that would cause these two to cancel out. All right, so let's just pick one of those. It doesn't really matter which one I pick. I can do either one. All right, so check it out. Let's multiply everything in this bottom equation. All right, and you just kind of have to look at it and say, okay, what could I multiply, everything in one of these equations by, so that when I multiply these two, or I'm sorry, when I add these two together, one of these ends up canceling out. All right. So it takes a little bit of practice, but I'm going to go ahead and multiply everything in this second equation by +2. Okay. So remember, whatever I multiply one term by, I have to multiply every term by. All right. So I'm going to rewrite the top equation. It's going to be 3x, and there's not going to be a change in the top equation, plus 2y equals 5. But I want to rewrite the bottom equation, multiplying every term by +2. So that's going to be 2x. 2 times -y is -2y. And 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, let me do that. Okay, sorry, these aren't the straightest of lines here. All right, now we're going to add everything together here, okay? So 3x and 2x gives me 5x. 2y minus 2y, these cancel. That's what I want to happen. And then 5 and 20 gives me 25. I divide both sides by 5, and I get x equals 5. Okay, so there's part of my answer right there. All right, now what are we going to do with this? We're going to take this, we're going to plug it back. We can choose either one. I can plug this 5 into either one of these two x's. I'm going to go with the top one here, okay? All right, so I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to plug in, it's going to be 3 times 5 plus 2y equals 5, okay? So that's 15 plus 2y equals 5. Okay, all right, now, what am I going to do to solve for y here? All right, I'm going to subtract 15 from here, subtract 15 here. Those cancel. I get 2y equals, what's 5 minus 15? -10. Divide both sides by 2, y equals -5. Okay, so I've got x equals 5. I'm going to just go ahead and write that as an ordered pair here. 5, -5. Okay. All right. Now let's make sure. And this is the beauty of these, is you can always check your work to make sure you're right. So I'm gonna plug in. I'm gonna go back to the original equations here. All right. So let's go back to this top equation. Let's put in a 5. So 3 times 5 minus 2 times -5 equals 5. let's see. Is that right? Oh, no. Boy, I was about to lose my mind there. That should be a positive right there. Yeah. It's like, that ain't going to work. Okay, yeah. So I had written it wrong. It's 3. So I plugged in my 5 for that x right there. So that's 3 times 5 plus 2 times negative 5. See that? We're just taking that negative 5 and we're plugging it in for that y equals 5. And what do we get? We get 15, and then 2 times negative 5 gives us negative 10, and 15 minus 10 is indeed 5. Okay, so that pair works. Now let's go ahead and plug it in for these up here. All right, so if we plug in, so remember the original equation was just right here. It was just x minus y equals 10. So before we multiplied everything by 2. So go back to the original equation, x minus y equals 10. Okay, so we got 5 minus negative 5 equals 10. And that, remember, that's the same thing as saying 5 plus 5 equals 10. Okay, so they both work. Okay, all right, one more example, and we'll be out of here, okay? All right, last example. All right, so let's study this out for a second. Study this out.